My name is Tanya Cantlow, and I am the acting counsel to Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. To my right, I have Ina Gusenfeld, who's the land use coordinator, and to my left, Richard Barrick, who is the land use director. There are 2 items on the agenda this evening. Please note that this hearing is being recorded to comply with the public law for transparency. It will be available for viewing on Borough President Adams' website, brooklyn-usa.org, or on the One Brooklyn channel on YouTube. Again, web viewers may submit timely comments to Ask Eric at brooklynbp.nyc.gov for Borough President Adams' consideration. Please call the first item and let us begin.
Calendar item number 190353 HAK.
This application submitted by the New York City Department of Housing, Preservation, and Development requests the designation of property located at 776-780 Myrtle Avenue in Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Community District 3 as an urban development action area project and to convey such city-owned properties to a developer selected by HPD. Such actions would facilitate a mixed-use development containing approximately 59 affordable housing units, of which 60% would be reserved as supportive housing units for formerly homeless individuals who are at least 55 years and older. The remaining units would be for households classified as low income. The development would also include commercial and community facility space. Community Board 3 voted to approve this application on May 6, 2019. Would Erin Buchanan, the representative for this application, please state your name for the record and present the application?
Good evening. My name is Erin Buchanan, and I'm from the New York City Department of Housing, Preservation, and Development. With me tonight are members from the development team working on the 776 Myrtle Avenue project, including members from Impact Brooklyn and Urban Architectural Initiatives. We're excited to be here tonight presenting this application. The proposed project will result in the development of 1 new 9-story affordable and supportive housing building with approximately 59 units plus 1 superintendent's unit. Impact Brooklyn was selected in January 2018 through HPD's supportive housing request for qualifications to be the team responsible for the development of the project. The ULURP application for this project was certified on April 8th. HPD is the applicant for this application. This ULURP application is seeking approvals for Urban Development Action Area project designation and project approval and the disposition of city-owned property. The proposed development will be located on 3 city-owned vacant tax lots on the south side of Myrtle Avenue between Nostrand and Marcy Avenues. The building will contain approximately 59 units and approximately 40,000 zoning square feet with ground floor commercial space of approximately 3,167 square feet. Amenities in the building include bike storage, a laundry room, community room, landscaped rear courtyard, and a green roof. Briefly about the surrounding area, land uses include a mix of residential, commercial, public facility, institutional, manufacturing, and open space uses. The development site is across the street from the NYCHA Marcy houses and Marcy Playground. The blocks to the south of the development site are mostly lower scale residential in character with several multifamily buildings along Myrtle Avenue. The area is served by commercial and retail uses, including a pharmacy, laundromat, salon, and restaurants and delis. Several nonprofit and religious institutions are also along Marcy and Willoughby Avenues. There are manufacturing and industrial uses to the west of the project area. Transit options in this area include the Myrtle Willoughby stop on the G train at the corner of Marcy and Myrtle Avenues, the B54 bus that runs along Myrtle, and the B44 bus that runs along Nostrand. Now I'm going to hand it over to Akiko from UAI to provide a more detailed description of the project, and then reps from Impact who will go over the program and affordability for the project.
Good evening. My name is Akiko Cheabwaji. I am principal at Urban Architectural Initiatives, the architects for this project. Let's see. There you go. This 9-story building is planned for a section of Myrtle Avenue that has a few vacant lots and then some residential development as well. Our building is designed to be a warm and welcoming addition to this stretch of Myrtle Avenue. We've chosen light-colored materials, rain screen, 2 different types, as well as brick on the ground floor to provide a sense of durability and stability for the building. The ground floor will be commercial space with a residential entry as well. Moving along to the site plan, there will be a rear yard at the back with a sunken courtyard that allows access to the ground floor, to the cellar level, where many of the program offices will be. The yard is on the south side of the building, so we're fortunate in that it should receive a lot of natural sunlight. The arrows at the bottom of the plan show the commercial entry, the two arrows on the left, and the residential entry on the right. Another feature of the building is a green roof, an accessible area to the tenants on the top floor of the building, the 9th floor, below the roof. The floor plans show, this is a cellar plan as well as a first floor plan, so you can see on the right the first floor plan showing the commercial space, floor through space, as well as the residential lobby to the right. 2 elevators, separated stairs. At the cellar, we have a laundry room as well as community room, and then a program office suite as well as all the usual building amenities. You'll see that the laundry room and community room open up to the rear yard by means of a sunken courtyard, and then there's an exterior stair that leads you up to the main level. In terms of sustainability, the applicant was eager to have a building that would live up to close to Passive House standards, so we're trying to add many things that would be in a Passive House design, including an HVAC system that is very efficient. We'll be using mini splits for the apartment and heating and cooling, as well as the public spaces. Also, the building will be set up to be ready for solar hot water heating to temper the hot water and allow less energy to be used for domestic hot water. We'll also have light Energy Star roofs and pavement to reduce the heat island effect of the building, as well as triple glazing in the windows, both facing Myrtle Avenue and in the back. Other elements of construction waste management plan and Energy Star appliances are things that are becoming more standard for projects, but as a city-funded project are going to be an integral part of this construction process. I guess I'd like to turn it over to Impact to speak a little bit about their programs.
Thank you. I'm Bernil Greer, the Executive Director of Impact Brooklyn, also known as Pratt Area Community Council. We are a comprehensive community development corporation that owns and operates affordable housing, as well as being a real estate developer. We have programs that are financial capacity building, also working with small businesses, community organizing, and also with social services. So we currently operate a social service building at 218 Gates Avenue called Gibb Mansion. It's 70 units of supportive housing, and we also have built and contract out on the services with Navy Green, so over on Vanderbilt Avenue. So those are the 2 properties that we own, and one, again, where we provide the social services. And so with that, I'm going to have Andrew Murray come and speak about the proposed program.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Murray. I'm a project manager at Impact Brooklyn. Just going to talk to you briefly about the proposed program. Beyond the supportive units, 100% of the units will be affordable. That amounts to 23 community units. You have 9 studios, 8 one-bedrooms, and 6 two-bedrooms. As you can see here, this is the range of incomes down to a studio at $822. These are based on the 2018 AMI rents, and up to $1,259 for a 2-bedroom. The incomes reflective of that will range between $30,000 approximately and $53,500. Now to talk about the economic development side of things, throughout the development process, we'll be hiring and soliciting bids from minority and women-owned enterprises. Currently, amongst them, we have our architect, attorney, and an environmental vendor who will qualify as MWBE. we'll continue through this throughout the development process, and we'll work with the general contractor while in the construction phase. For the development timeline, here we are this evening on May 29th. We anticipate approval by summer, early autumn of 2019. We'll be submitting a low-income housing tax credit application in the fall of 2019. Anticipate closing in late spring, early summer of 2019 before finally completing construction in summer 2022. Now, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to take them.
Sure, yeah, actually, we have several questions. I know you just spoke about the affordable housing units. Now I want to turn the direction to low-income and supportive housing units, so I have a few questions there. What is the qualifying income range for prospective tenants, is the first part, and the second is what is the anticipated rents for each unit type? And the last part of that question is how long are these units required to be rented at affordable rates?
I'll start off with the last question. As is reflected in the HBD regulatory agreement, there will be at least 60 years of affordability. To go on deeper into the first two questions, for the supportive units, there will be a maximum income of $17,307, and that rent for those supportive units at 27% AMI will be $362. As for the lottery units, we have a mix of studios, 1 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms. That mix again is 9 studios, 8 1-beds, and 6 2-beds. I should mention that we said there were 59 units total. There are 60 altogether, with a live-in super being the remainder. So the income ranges for those studio units, I'll start with the studios. I'm sorry, for the community units, I'll start with the studios. You have a minimum income of $31,303. That maxes out to approximately $36,537. The rent for those units, again, this is 57% AMI, will be $843. For the 1-bedroom units, the minimum again will be $39,086. Maximum will be $45,629. And the rent for those 1-bedroom units will be $1,065. And lastly, for the 2 bedrooms at 57% AMI, there's a minimum income requirement of $46,937. And that'll be maxed out at $54,777. And the rent for those units will be placed at $1,290.
So are all the units to be at 50% AMI, or is there going to be some distribution at various income tiers?
Right now, they're underwritten to the 57% AMI, but we are looking into income averaging. We're exploring the feasibility.
Yeah, it's been our policy to take advantage of the low-income housing tax credit availability now, where you can average them at 57% or at 60, but have multiple tiers of incomes.
Of course, yeah.
And if you get some down into the 40s and 50s, it gives us other possibilities.
Yeah, I think we'll be exploring that further with HPD and our potential investor.
Okay, the second question deals with supportive services. What types of supportive services would be provided on site? And do the services apply solely to the supportive housing residents, or are they also intended to be available to the rest of the building's residents and or the community at large?
I can answer the second quite easily. They, as it exists now at Gibb Mansion, 218 Gates Avenue in Bed-Stuy, those services are splayed out for all members of the building. But I'm sure I can share the description with Burnell here. But just to give you a brief overview, you have health and wellness services, supportive intensive case management, substance abuse, you have counseling and workshops that deal with those issues. You have recreational activities. There's someone on staff who takes care of that. And I might as well hand it over to Burnell for any more description.
We would look to largely replicate what we have in our 2 other facilities. And at Give Mansion, as was stated, we do have comprehensive case management. We do have social workers, case managers on staff, and that would continue to be the process here. And again, overall, in terms of encouraging the residents to participate in the different services and activities, we look at really not just for the building itself, but being good community partners. At Give Mansion, we actually have several of our representatives or of our residents that are active on the community board and serving on different committees. So we do sort of encourage folks to be engaged and involved. We would look for that to continue. You know, and again, overall comprehensive services. I don't know if there's more of a direct further question on that.
No, that was it. Okay. Given community concerns regarding displacement and prevalence of rent-burdened households, please identify what marketing strategies would be used in the tenant selection process in order to ensure the highest level of participation from Community District 3, especially those that are rent-burdened or at risk of displacement.
One of the things that I did not mention that Impact currently does, we are a housing ambassador, and we are part of the HPD's Ready to Rent program. So we have been actively engaged and will continue to do so to reach out to community organizations, also working with residents throughout the community board, and being able to provide them with information about the lotteries. We manage the lotteries on several projects, and we will be managing the lottery in this process also. We are, you know, under HPD standards, we do have to, in terms of advertising in local newspapers, but we go beyond that in being able to work with schools and the local libraries. We hold forums. We're doing that now and would continue to do that in this overall process in terms of being engaged and making sure that community residents are actively involved.
So will there be a financial literacy campaign to assist the residents?
Yes. So we also have, you know, along with that, with the Ready to Rent program, we have, and even before we engage with HPD and working with some of the contracted services, we have our own financial coach on staff. And currently, when we find that we try to get well in advance of the lotteries taking place so that people are prepared to be able to apply for the lotteries and actually being able to have their paperwork. One of the huge burdens is just making sure that you're ready to apply and having all of that paperwork in place. So we educate folks on everything that they need to be in it to win it.
So this is regarding the commercial floor area. What consideration has been given to providing affordable retail or community facility space for local arts and cultural institutions?
So immediately when we started talking about the space, the commercial space, we did reach out to our elected officials, to do, you know, Robert Corneghi, as well as to Tremaine Wright, and to just ask, you know, what do you know, in terms of getting some feedback. And what we definitely got by way of feedback was just really, again, knowing that not wanting to just have services for the people, for the residents in the building, sort of the supportive housing, but looking at what's missing around the Marcy houses or along that corridor. So we've actually started engaging in conversation with, I'm trying to think of the group, with Grand Low Cafe, and seeing again if we can have, you know, their support in terms of putting together a coffee shop in the space. That's something that's missing along the Myrtle Avenue corridor over in that area, and seeing what we can do, and also being able to engage local residents to be hired and operating that space. We're also exploring community kitchen, just other things that we can do. One of the things that I didn't mention also is that Impact Brooklyn has an economic development arm, and we have a program that's called Rolling Up the Gates, where we do work with local entrepreneurs, and it's an 8-week training program where we train entrepreneurs on how to have a retail presence. We have Strzok & Levin, that is legal services, or again, a law firm that works with us, and making sure that, again, small businesses have the opportunity to have more longer-term leases so that they can stay in the community. So we would also be looking for local businesses, but right now the main thought is looking at the Grand Low Cafe and replicating what's in Lower Manhattan.
So in terms of the rent for the commercial space, how driven are you to be doing market rents versus something below market? That
So
might be
our process through the years has been to be able to offer a below-market rent. It's something that we have in place now. You might be familiar with some of the buildings that we own that are more in Community Board 2, but where we have Peaches Crab and Shrimp, Belly's, Connecticut Muffin, are all in buildings that we operate, and they all have below-market rents and able to stay in Fort Greene, Clinton Hill.
Okay, the last question, actually, I think, Aaron, you spoke on this in terms of the renewable and sustainable energy. Has there been any consideration in terms of using white roof covering or DEP rain gardens or passive house design?
I'll take this one. As far as, yes, definitely. As far as the roof covering, we will have a white roof covering. It's mandated as part of our participation in the HPD mandated enterprise green communities requirements. As far as passive house requirements, we explored this. The development team explored going for passive house at an early stage in the process. And essentially, there's some things that make it cost prohibitive in terms of the registration, but we are striving to include everything that would be in a passive house building as much as possible as far as the budget permits. So yes, absolutely. And then lastly, as far as the rain gardens, yes, we discussed it with the ownership, and we would like to have rain gardens around the street trees in the front of the building. Since we'll have the landscape at the back and people to maintain it, we think we can upkeep them in a way that would allow them to be a good example of rain gardens rather than one that gets a little dilapidated.
That concludes questions for this particular item. Are there any speakers? Okay, if there are no speakers, Richard, if you can close this item.
Calendar item number 1 is closed. Calendar item number 2, 190373, HAK.
This application submitted by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development requests the designation of 3 properties located at 120 Liberty Avenue, 47 New Lots Avenue, and 609 Osborn Street as an urban development action area project, and to convey such city-owned properties to a developer selected by HPD. Such action would facilitate the development of approximately 42 affordable housing units in the Brownsville section of Community District 16. Community Board 16 will vote on the application on June 25th, 2019. Borough President Adams will hold off on making any decisions until he hears from the board. Would Makita Marshall Nesmith, the representative for this application, please state your name for the record and present the application?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Makita Marshall Nesmith, and I'm here from the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development. This evening, I have here with me representatives from the designated development team, including Alembic Community Development, JMR Residential, and the project's architect, Urban Quotient. Tonight, we would like to share with you an exciting project that will bring quality, affordable housing to Community District 16. Brownsville South is a cluster of 3 scattered sites in the Brownsville neighborhood of Brooklyn. The proposed project was selected through the NIHOP and NCP request for qualifications and request for proposals in December 2014. This initiative aimed at the development of home ownership and rental opportunities through small homes and mid-sized rental buildings. Under the RFP, Alembic and JMR were chosen in July 2017. The proposed project will result in a total of 42 units across 3 buildings with a mix of studios, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units, and all affordable to households and individuals up to 80% of the area median income. This project will be developed under the Neighborhood Construction Program. HPD's Neighborhood Construction Program funds the new construction of infill rental housing with up to 45 units affordable to low, moderate, and middle-income households. The proposed project was certified on May 6th and was presented to the CB16 Land Use Committee on May 14th and the full board yesterday on May 28th. HPD is the applicant, and we are requesting the following actions: designation of an urban development action area, designation of an urban development action area project, and disposition of city-owned property. 3 sites: 609 Osborn Street, Brooklyn Block 3628, Lot 9, 47 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn Block 3855, Lot 40, and 120 to 122 Liberty Avenue, Brooklyn Block 3693, Lots 22 and 23. All 3 sites are located within Community Board 16. 609 Osborn and 47 New Lots Avenue are in Councilmember Barron's District 42, and 120 Liberty Avenue is in Councilmember Espinal's District 37. Now I will turn the presentation over to Mike McCarthy from Alembic to provide more details on the proposed Brownsville South project.
Good evening. My name is Michael McCarthy. I'm from Alembic Community Development, and I represent one of the 2 developers of this project, along with JMR Residential and our architect, Urban Quotient. As Makita said, this is a 42-unit project over 3 buildings. The project will be 100% affordable to individuals and families earning between 30% AMI and 80% AMI. Each of the 3 properties are currently vacant, and the proposed project will improve the vacant lots without requiring any sort of rezoning. The amenities in each of the 3 buildings will include a laundry room, bike storage, elevator, and recreational rear yard. Each property will be developed to Enterprise Green Community standards, and the properties will also include landscape areas featuring a variety of plant life that will help control stormwater runoff. The property at 47 New Lots will also include approximately 2,000 square feet of commercial space, and it will be financed with a combination of HPD subsidy through the NCP program and 9% low-income housing tax credit equity. So we'll take you through the 3 sites. This is 609 Osborn. 609 Osborn is the smallest of the 3 projects. It is a 4-story building that will include 12 units with 4 studios, 5 1-bedrooms, and 3 3-bedrooms. The roof will include controlled flow roof drains to manage stormwater runoff. And the 2 rear units, the 2 rear residential units on the ground floor are elevated to provide additional privacy to those units. Additionally, we have included planters at the ground floor windows and right-of-way bioswales / rain gardens. This is our site plan and a typical floor plan. The second property will be located at 47 New Lots. This is the largest of the 3. It will be a 6-story building with 17 units, including 5 studios, 6 1-bedroom units, 3 2-bedroom units, including 1 for the superintendent that will cover all 3 buildings, 3 3-bedroom units, and approximately 2,000 square feet of ground floor commercial space. This property also includes right-of-way bioswales, rain gardens, and has a white roof. can see here the site plan with the rear garden. And this is the first floor on the left with the commercial space, and then the typical floor plan for floors 2 through 6 is on the right. The third property is 120 to 122 Liberty Avenue. This property will be 4 stories with 13 units, including 2 studios, 7 one-bedrooms, 3 two-bedrooms, and 1 three-bedroom unit. Similar to the first property on Osborn, we will include controlled flow roof drains to manage stormwater flow. All of the ground floor residential units have been raised 2 feet to provide additional privacy to those units, as well as planters at the ground floor, right-of-way bioswales and rain gardens. You can see here the site plan and the typical floor plan for each of the 6 floors. So in aggregate, between the 3 buildings, we will have 11 studios, 18 one-bedrooms, 5 two-bedrooms, 7 three-bedrooms, and a supers unit. The units will be affordable to individuals and families earning between 30% and 80% AMI. We haven't pinned down the exact mix, but the overall goal that we share with HPD is to include at least half at 60% AMI or below, and half at 61% AMI and above, up to 80% AMI. And you can see here the 2019 rents for each unit type and income band, and the accompanying income limits for each of those types of units. In terms of sustainability features, we will be developing the property to Enterprise Green Community Standards, and it will include things such as Energy Star appliances, Energy Star certified roofing product, water conserving fixtures, environmentally preferable flooring, low VOC paints, primers, and sealants, and landscape areas with a variety of plant life that is native or adapted to the region that will help control stormwater runoff. This is our timeline. Here we are tonight on May 29th, presenting to you. And we presented to the full Community Board 16 last night and to the Land Use Committee 2 weeks ago. Thank you.
So we have a few questions. I know you touched on the affordability for the housing units in terms of income, but can you just take us through, like, what are the anticipated rents based on the number of bedrooms?
Sure. So for the rents would go anywhere from a studio unit for a 30%, somebody earning 30% of AMI at $490, up to a 3-bedroom for a family earning 80% AMI, that would be $2,121.
Do you want to break it down a little bit further?
In terms of,
give us more examples within your chart, rather than the top at one end.
Sure. A 1-bedroom for somebody earning 50% AMI would pay $925 a month. A 2-bedroom for somebody earning 40% AMI would be paying $882 a month. A 3-bedroom for somebody earning 30% AMI would be $733 a month.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the next question. So the next question deals with the marketing strategy. So what marketing strategies would be used in the tenant selection process in order to ensure the highest level of participation from Community District 16, especially those that are rent burdened or at risk of displacement?
So we will be following all of the marketing guidelines that HPD will require of us. We will be doing outreach sessions with Community Board 16 to make sure that the Community Board itself is aware that the lottery has been opened and what types of units are available. We are planning to work with a property manager called Lumley and Wolf, and we would work with them to either piggyback off of another community organization's financial literacy program and Housing Connect training to make sure that there are ample opportunities for people to be aware of and understand the process.
So there's no particular locally based nonprofit at the moment that's involved in that effort?
Correct. But we plan to reach out to groups such as CAMBA, Manny, LDC of the Local Development Corporation of East New York, and we are open to other suggestions as well. We want to make sure that as many people know about it as possible.
Okay, so the last question, I know you spoke about this also, the sustainable and renewable energy resources, and you did talk about rain gardens and white roof. Has there been any consideration in terms of using passive house design or solar panels?
Yes, we researched that and kind of went into it extensively and spent a few months working with architects and contractors that have extensive experience with passive house, and came to the conclusion that from a financial standpoint, given that this is 3 small buildings, that it wasn't financially feasible to pursue passive house. But we did learn a lot about it, and definitely are interested in using that technology in our next project that's larger, that can help absorb those additional costs that come with passive house.
And is that the same for the solar panels too?
With solar panels, we have not totally ruled that out, so we will be working with our structural engineer to confirm that we have the correct load on our roof to take on solar panels at a later date if necessary, and we'll do that cost-benefit analysis in the near future to determine whether it makes sense financially to include solar panels.
In addition to the load, the idea of having the wiring in place, that's something else is a potential more nominal cost now.
Right. Yeah, something definitely better to do earlier than later.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our questions. Are there any speakers? Okay, hearing none, will Richard please close this item?
Hearing on the calendar item number 2 is closed.
Okay, the hearing on these items is now closed. Thank you for participating in this public hearing. Borough President Adams will review the applications we heard today and will soon submit his recommendations to the City Planning Commission. Borough President Adams would like to take this opportunity to remind you that the City Planning Commission will hold a public hearing on these items. The hearing is now adjourned. Borough President Adams would like to remind those viewing on the website that timely comments can be submitted by email to askeric@brooklynbp.nyc.gov. Thank you.